Hi Tammy, hello, welcome, welcome back. How are you doing, Tammy? Hello. Hello, Tamika, how are you doing? Hi, darling. Hello. What? What happened here? Hi, darling. You have one free question. Other questions you need to gift. Mini reading, one question for you. Will you find love? Hi, Erin. How are you doing? Gift and I'll read you next. Tamika, you're well. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you very much for asking. I'm pretty good. How are things? Amber, please tap share, follow, and become a fan, please. Hi, Churita. How are you doing? Darling, your question, you need to donate for a reading. Okay, this is not free readings. If you want a future spouse reading, I recommend you can choose from this list, okay? You can choose one question reading, 2, 3, how much questions you have, that much you donate. Charita. Okay? Here you go. Donate and you can be on the list. There's a list, okay? Right now, you're going to be second in row. Thank you, everybody. Tap your follow. Amber, for reconnection, reconciliation questions, you need to have a at least mini reading. It requires multiple cards, me to see if it will align back. Okay, Charita, will be second in line if you donate now. Hello. Tamika, how are you doing? Okay. What the hell was that? Yes and no questions, simple ones, are free for subscribers. Depends on the question. If it's a yes and no for reconciliation, you need to donate here on this one. You just need to go on this link and you have all kinds of live offers, darling, here. Okay? Tamika. For example, if he still loves you, that's, I can answer yes and no. But reconciliation fixes emotions. This needs multiple cards. We need to do at least a mini reading, one question, one. Or you can go. Okay. Okay, thank you, Tamika. Perfect. Let me know if I can help you, okay? I'm here. Hi, Enoch. You need to gift mini reading for that. Good. Mwah. Da, skidam, Beli. Skidam. Imaš magiju? Beli. Pa ajde da ti vidim, baci mi galaksiju da vidim šta ima, ok? Mora to prvo da vidimo, da utvrdimo šta je uopšte. Pa onda mogu da ti kažem cenu i sve. Šta je? Znaš da kupiš coinse? Prvo kupiš, daš karticu, kupiš coinse i onda ideš ovde na ovaj meni. I imaš tu negde galaksiju, it says full tarot. To ti ono, da vidimo. Tamika, what's going on? Are we in? Bravo. Hi Dahlia, please tap share and follow and become a fan. Loyalty program. Block. Nothing more. Hi Dahlia, do you hear what I say? Darling, Wendy, you didn't hear what I say? Yes, and send heart me, darling. Become a fan. It says fan. You need to be a fan. You need to send heart me when you visit. Mm-hmm. I don't understand this. Let's go. Who's gonna have a reading with me? Let's go. Who's gonna buy mini reading? Beach house. Oh, I wanted the beach house. Okay. Send heart me. Hello, I'm Evangelist. How are you? Hi, good luck. How are you? Hello. Can you ask a question? What is your question? Please subscribe. Huh? Will Laura contact you in the future? Alright, did you subscribe there? Okay.
Mama Petri.
Alright. Yes, she will contact. I'll be right back. Sad će to polako da se digne. Ako trebaš neki, zvaću na Ivanu Sančića da treba hvala. Ne mogu berem ovdje. Javit će se Ivan, reći će ti. Isto se ne javi. Ivan će se javi. Ako zoveš ništa ne... Okej, ama. Okej.
Toliko je tanak da ga skoro ni ne primećuješ. Štitite tamo gdje ti je najpotrebnije kako bi spavalo mirno tokom cijele noći.
Eto bez onog pravog letnjeg osjećaja, ne iskladi se. Uživanje u ukusima leta, iskladi se. Od četvrtka 23. jula. Kvadro sladoled, 479,99. Vanilija sladoled, 199,99. Sladoled kornet, 299,99 uz Lidl plus ponudu. Lidl, isplati se.
Hi Randall, are you still here?
You're watching Northern Crime.
Alaska is a land of extremes. Vast wilderness, brutal cold, and breathtaking isolation. But it's not just the weather that turns dangerous. People disappear here. Bodies turn up with no names. Planes vanish from the sky. Even serial killers leave victims behind that no one can identify. In this video, we're diving into 5 of Alaska's most chilling unsolved mysteries. Stories that remain unanswered decades later. These are the cases that confound detectives, haunt families, and challenge everything we think we know about the last frontier. This is Northern Crimes. It was July 1980 when utility workers checking power lines near Kootenai Lake Road made a chilling discovery: the body of a young woman buried in a shallow grave outside of Anchorage. She had no ID, no missing persons report, and no one waiting for her return. For over 4 decades, she's been known only by a name tied to where she was found: Kootenai Annie. The medical examiner believed she was between 16 and 25, around 5 feet tall, with light brown hair tinged with red. She wore a brown leather jacket, jeans, and red knee-high boots, the kind you'd remember. Her jewelry was distinctive: turquoise-studded copper bracelet, beaded necklace, gold hoop earrings, and a Timex watch with a brown face. What makes this case even more disturbing is that we know who killed her, but not who she was. In 1984, serial killer Robert Hansen confessed to Annie's murder, saying she was his first victim. By then, Hansen was infamous, a quiet Anchorage baker and father. He'd secretly abducted, assaulted, and murdered at least 17 women between 1971 and 1983. Often flying them into the wilderness to hunt them like prey. According to Hansen's confession, he picked up Annie in downtown Anchorage sometime in late 1979. When she realized he wasn't taking her home, she panicked. He pulled a gun and told her to, quote, "Do exactly as I say, and you won't get hurt." He drove her toward a Kootenai Lake, but when his truck got stuck in the mud, she tried to run. Hansen caught her, dragged her down, and stabbed her in the back with a hunting knife as she pleaded for her life. Detective Maxine Farrell, one of the few investigators who believed a serial killer was targeting women in Anchorage, suspected Annie had been a dancer or a sex worker. Her clothing and jewelry matched those worn by women from the city's nightlife scene, a detail Farrell had seen far too many times. Over the years, many missing women were compared to Kootenai Annie, including Roxanne Eastland and Megan Emmerich, but DNA testing ruled them out. Forensic artists have created facial reconstructions, and her case remains open, but no name has ever been confirmed. Today, she lies in Anchorage Memorial Park Cemetery beneath a headstone marked only "Jane Doe, died 1980. She is the only known victim of Robert Hansen, who remains unidentified. As advocate Autumn Smith once said,
"She deserves just as much of a search for her people as any other victim, as any other survivor."
Even when a killer is caught, some stories are left unfinished. Kootenai Annie's real name, her life before the violence, is still missing. Every 4th of July, thousands gather in Seward, Alaska, to witness one of the state's most grueling traditions, the Mount Marathon race. It's just 3 miles long, but with a vertical climb of over 3,000 feet straight up a mountain face, it's not for the faint of heart. In 2012, it became the backdrop for a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. That year, 66-year-old Anchorage businessman Michael Lemiter decided to run Mount Marathon for the first time. Despite the dangerous terrain and slick, foggy conditions, he was determined to finish. Around 6 p.m., a race official saw him just 200 feet from the summit, the last confirmed sighting of Lemiter. He never came back down. What makes this disappearance so unsettling is that Mount Marathon towers directly over the town of Seward. It's not deep wilderness. You can see the mountain from nearly every street. During the race, it's lined with volunteers and packed with spectators, and yet somehow Lemiter vanished in plain sight. As soon as he was reported missing, a massive search effort was launched. Helicopters equipped with infrared, search dogs, and dozens of volunteers combed the trails, ravines, and cliffs. His scent was picked up briefly, but the trail ended abruptly at an old structure high on the mountain. No trace of him was ever found. No clothing, no equipment, nothing. The conditions that day were unusually treacherous. 2 other runners were seriously injured. One fell off a cliff and suffered internal injuries, while another broke both legs and sustained a traumatic brain injury after slipping on the same descent. Lemiter's daughter, Marianne, spent more than a month hiking the mountain herself. She wanted to understand the path her father took, to feel the terrain he walked.
Perfect.
On her final trip, she carved "I love you, Dad" into a summit rock with a Dremel tool. Theories vary. Some believe he took a fatal fall into one of the steep ravines or was buried under a snow bridge. Others think he may have accidentally wandered off course and continued down an unmarked trail. A few suggest wildlife could have been involved, but none of these theories have produced answers. In October of 2012, a judge declared Michael Lemiter legally dead. His wife later reached a $25,000 settlement with the Seward Chamber of Commerce, and the race implemented new safety rules requiring participants to have completed the course previously. Still, his case remains open. Technically, Michael Lemiter is not a dead man. He's a missing person, a man swallowed by a mountain that thousands climb every year. His final moments remain a mystery, and his story remains one of Alaska's most perplexing disappearances. A reminder that sometimes, even in full view, people can simply vanish. The tide was low on a quiet June afternoon in 2003, when 2 young siblings walking along Beluga Point spotted what they thought was a dead animal tangled in the seaweed. But it wasn't a sheep or a seal. It was the torso of a woman, headless, legless, and dumped into Alaska's Cook Inlet. It was a gruesome discovery, and it was just the beginning. 3 months later, on September 6th, a father and son duck hunting in the Ocean View mudflats, less than a few miles from the first site, found another torso. Again, it was a young woman, dismembered in the same way, her remains discarded like the first. The similarities were unmistakable. The violence was calculated. Someone had killed these women and made them disappear, or at least tried to. For over a year, the first victim remained unidentified. The DNA testing eventually revealed she was 22-year-old Desiree Lekanoff, reported missing by a former boyfriend. The second torso was identified more quickly. A distinctive tattoo reading Marty's on the lower back led to 32-year-old Michelle Roth, a fellow inmate at Highland Mountain Correctional
Ciao
Facility,
Alexa,
recognized the tattoo
baci
and gave police her name.
ovaj gift
Both
zvezd.
women were known to police, Both had worked along Anchorage's notorious Bernard Avenue, a corridor long associated with prostitution and drug activity. Both had histories of addiction, particularly to crack cocaine, and both had been swept into a violent underground world of trafficking and exploitation. At the center of that world were two predators. Don Arthur Webster, a violent pimp known on the street as Jerry Starr, and Joseph Bohm, a wealthy Anchorage businessman who trafficked young women under the nickname Joe Millionaire. Webster was brutal, beating and controlling the women he exploited. Bohm lured girls in with drugs and a place to stay and kept them there with threats.
Alex,
Bohm was arrested on drug charges in
ti slušaš kad se
2003.
kaže nešto?
He made chilling remarks to investigators about a girl named Ruby. Ruby was the alias
Ne radim za
Michelle
tapkanje,
Bohm
ne
never
radim za
revealed
šerovanje
anything
i
about
ne
the
radim za
murders. He
lajkovanje.
died in 2014,
Rekla sam ti gift.
serving a 13-year sentence for sex trafficking and drug charges. Webster, meanwhile, was convicted.
Misliš da ovo stoji onako bez veze?
$6 million in restitution.
Ne moraš ni da pitaš. Baciš i gledam. Tu su ti cene, pa izvoli. Nismo tu da se pregovaramo. Ne radim džabe. Ne pada mi na pamet.
Whether their disappearances are linked remains unknown. Desiree Lekanoff and Michelle Roth were finally identified, but their killer never was. Fed by glaciers and ringed with beauty, the waters of Cook Inlet seemed serene, but for two women, they became a graveyard. Their bodies washed ashore in pieces, their stories barely recovered, and the person who left them there,
Hello.
still unknown.
Завжди також тестірана і одобрена від страни Вейваса найосвітлювання.
6-7.
Преміум Кекоя Instant Tupia.
6-7.
Jet pomažu u zaustavljanju curenja. Pampers odobreno od strane Vejva. Najboljoj 5G mreži čekate duplo jače leto. Ponesi duplo više neta na odmor uz petica tarife. I dupliraj uživanje kod kuće po istoj ceni. Posjeti MTS sajt.
Four comments.
Ili pozovi 0800
Four comments. Hello. Ah. That's it. Oh. No. No.
Milwaukee police found body parts in a North.
She's cute. That's really cute. O, bra. Ne deri se toliko. 6, 7.
July 17th, 2014.
No. Andrea Dori. Some kind of shit. Oh my god. No. Što se ovo čuje? Background noise. Što se ovo čuje? To košta 5k. Ubaciti te u live. Ovdje piše guest reading 5k. Private guest read tu imaš. Mali lav košta to, da te ubaci. To košta 5k. Ubaciti te u live. No, pravo su, ne čuje se dobro. Ovdje piše guest reading 5k. Brate, svak. Jel imaš lava? Kako brzo. Sad bolj. Jel imaš lava? Da, faka se ovako ovo čuje, bre. Bog. Mikrofonija. Da, faka se ovako ovo čuje, bre. Ok. Gdje je sad lav da te ubacim? Da pričamo. Hello, come. Hi. How are you doing? I'm good, thank you. How about you? I come. When was this? Cam, what can I do for you? Welcome. It was no accident.
It's 1:19 in the morning.
The North Sea.
The North Sea is one of the most familiar places in Europe. It appears on classroom maps before most children can even point to the countries surrounding it. Millions of people hear its name every week in weather forecasts. It sits quietly beside some of Europe's busiest coastlines, crossed by ferries, cargo ships and fishing boats every single day. If you grew up in Britain, Norway, Denmark, Germany, Belgium or the Netherlands, chances are you've seen it with your own eyes. You may have walked along its beaches, watched waves break against seawalls, or looked out across its horizon without giving it much thought. It feels ordinary, predictable, permanent, just another stretch of water separating one country from another. But what if almost everything we think we know about the North Sea is wrong? What if this seemingly ordinary sea is actually one of the most extraordinary places on Earth? A place that has rewritten maps, swallowed entire landscapes, created kingdoms, destroyed civilizations, hidden forgotten worlds beneath its surface, and quietly shaped the history of Europe for thousands of years. Because beneath these familiar grey waters lies a story almost nobody has ever told. A story stretching far beyond recorded history, beyond castles and Viking ships, beyond the Roman Empire, beyond agriculture itself. It is a story written by ice, carved by rivers, transformed by rising oceans, and preserved beneath layers of sand that still conceal countless secrets waiting to be discovered. The remarkable thing is not that these stories exist. The remarkable thing is that they all belong to the same sea that millions of people think they already know. We have a strange habit as human beings. We pay attention to places that stand out. Towering mountain ranges, endless deserts, tropical rainforests alive with colour and sound. These landscapes immediately capture our imagination because they announce themselves. They look extraordinary before we know anything about them. The North Sea has never enjoyed that advantage. It rarely appears on postcards. It is not famous for crystal clear water or coral reefs. Tourists do not travel halfway around the world simply to admire its horizon. On many days the water is steel grey beneath an equally grey sky, interrupted only by distant ships moving slowly across the surface. At first glance it seems almost empty, and that first glance has fooled generations. The truth is that the North Sea is one of those rare places where almost everything important is hidden from view. From the shore you cannot see the ancient rivers buried beneath the seabed. You cannot see the forests that once covered what is now open water. You cannot see the thousands of shipwrecks resting beneath shifting sand. You cannot see the pipelines carrying energy across Europe, the communication cables connecting entire nations, or the extraordinary ecosystems thriving far below the waves. Even standing on a cliff overlooking the sea, you are looking at only the very surface of an astonishingly complex world. Perhaps that is why the North Sea has remained underestimated for so long. It asks something unusual of us. It asks us to imagine what cannot be seen. Imagine opening a satellite image of Europe. Your eyes immediately drift toward the land. Britain sits to the west like a giant island. Norway stretches northward in a dramatic curve. Denmark appears almost wrapped around the water. Germany and the Netherlands line the southern coastline with neat borders and familiar cities. The sea itself becomes little more than the blue space in between, an empty gap, a place where nothing happens except ships moving from one destination to another. Yet if that blue space suddenly disappeared, Europe would become almost unrecognizable. Rotterdam would never have become one of the world's greatest ports. The fishing communities that have survived for centuries along these coasts would never have existed in the same way. The Vikings would have travelled through an entirely different world. The rise of maritime trade that transformed northern Europe would have unfolded along different routes. Even Britain's identity as an island nation would disappear. That simple patch of blue has influenced almost every major chapter of northern European history, not because it separated people, but because it connected them. Long before roads crossed the continent, the sea was the fastest route between distant communities. Long before trains linked great cities, ships carried goods, languages, ideas and cultures across these waters. Kingdoms looked toward the North Sea, not as a barrier, but as a highway. Coastal settlements that appeared isolated on land became surprisingly close when viewed from the water. A journey that would have taken weeks through forests and marshes could sometimes be completed in days by sea. Entire civilizations grew wealthy because they understood something that maps often fail to show. Water does not always divide. Sometimes it unites more effectively than land ever could. Even today, the North Sea remains one of the busiest marine regions on the planet. Thousands of commercial vessels cross it every week. Massive container ships carrying products from every corner of the world enter and leave European ports through its waters. Fishing fleets continue traditions that stretch back hundreds of years. Ferries move millions of passengers between countries each year. Offshore engineers maintain enormous structures rising from the horizon. Research vessels quietly collect data beneath the waves, while satellites monitor conditions from hundreds of kilometers above. Yet despite all this activity, the sea still appears strangely calm to anyone standing on shore. That contradiction lies at the heart of the North Sea. It constantly hides its true nature behind an appearance of simplicity. Geography offers another clue. Compared with many of the world's oceans and seas, the North Sea is surprisingly shallow. That alone surprises many people. We often associate danger with depth, imagining dark ocean trenches plunging thousands of meters into darkness. The North Sea tells a different story. Much of it averages less than 100 meters deep, with vast southern regions considerably shallower still. Ancient sandbanks rise beneath the surface, invisible to passing ships but capable of transforming waves, currents and weather in remarkable ways. Those shallow waters behave very differently from the deep Atlantic beyond. When powerful weather systems sweep eastward across the ocean, they encounter a basin shaped by glaciers, rivers and ancient landscapes. The result is a sea unlike almost any other in Europe. Wind transfers energy into relatively shallow water, producing steep, chaotic waves. Tides funnel through narrow passages and interact with coastlines in complex patterns. Storm surges can push enormous volumes of water toward low-lying shores. The North Sea is not simply filled with water.
Hi
It
Gabriel.
is constantly moving, constantly responding to forces above and below its surface. It behaves less like a quiet lake and more like a living machine. Every current influences another. Every tide carries consequences far beyond the shoreline. The weather experienced by millions of people across northern Europe is shaped, in part, by what happens here. Moisture evaporating from its surface contributes to rainfall far inland. Temperatures along the coast remain milder because of the sea's immense ability to store and release heat. Birds follow migration routes connected to its seasonal rhythms. Marine mammals navigate invisible highways beneath its waves.
Hi Honey Bliss,
Tiny drifting
welcome.
organisms capture sunlight each spring, beginning food chains that eventually support fish, seals, dolphins and whales. The North Sea does not exist in isolation. It is woven into the lives of millions of people and countless species, whether they realize it or not. Scientists who dedicate their careers to studying it rarely describe it as ordinary. Marine biologists see one of Europe's richest ecosystems.
Hi,
Oceanographers
Natasha.
see an intricate system of tides, currents, and
Natasha,
changing
tap
water
your
masses.
follow.
Geologists
Become a
see
fan,
remarkably
send
young
heart
sea
me.
that continues evolving today.
And for this
See a
question,
submerged
reunion
archive
questions, we need to have a
preserving
mini
evidence of
reading.
worlds that
It
vanished
requires at
thousands of
least
years
3
ago.
cards to
Historians
see if you're
the
gonna
birthplace of
reunite
trade
or
routes,
reconnect.
empires and maritime exploration that helped shape the modern continent. Engineers see one of humanity's greatest offshore achievements. Every discipline uncovers another layer. Every layer reveals something unexpected. And perhaps that is the greatest misconception of all. We tend to imagine the North Sea as a fixed place, something that has always existed exactly as it does today.
Hi, King.
Open a modern atlas and it seems permanent, as though it has always separated Britain from mainland Europe, always looked the same from the sky, always
Yes or
filled
no?
this basin between nations.
Okay.
Yet permanence is an illusion. The coastline we know today
Kisha
is
feeling some
astonishingly
type of
young
way of the
in
one.
geological terms. The
King,
sea itself is
send
only the
heart.
latest chapter in a landscape that has been changing for hundreds of thousands
Yes,
of years.
she feels.
There was a time when the place
Yes.
we now call the North Sea looked
Of
nothing
course.
like a sea at all. There were rivers where ships now sail, hills where waves now roll, forests where fish now swim, animals crossed ground that today lies beneath tens of meters of water. Human beings once walked across a landscape that has completely disappeared from the modern map. The more researchers explored the seabed, the more impossible the forgotten world began to seem. At first, the discoveries appeared almost accidental.
Do you want me
A
to
fishing
read?
net hauled up ancient bones. Survey equipment revealed shapes that looked suspiciously like river valleys. Samples taken from beneath the seabed contained pollen from forests that should not have existed underwater. Each clue on its own was intriguing. Together, they hinted at something far larger than anyone had imagined. Somewhere beneath the familiar waters of the North Sea lay the remains of an
Let's go,
entirely
everybody.
different
Heart.
world. Far beneath the busy shipping lanes of the modern North Sea lies a landscape that should not exist.
Okay.
Not because it is difficult to imagine,
Where are my
but because
heart?
everything we see today tells us the opposite story. We look across open water and instinctively assume it has always been there. Seas feel permanent, coastlines feel fixed, islands appear eternal.
Oh boy.
Yet the map of Europe that seems so familiar is only the latest version of a landscape that has been rewritten countless times. If we could stand here 20,000 years ago, we would not need a ship.
Let it
There
go.
would be no waves stretching toward the horizon, no ferries crossing between nations, no offshore wind farms turning in the distance. Instead, we would find ourselves standing on solid ground in the middle of an enormous plain that connected
Beautiful.
to mainland Europe.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for stars. Tell me, King. You want to see if she's mad? Yeah? Open for that? Oh, I wanted this gift. Oh. Okay. Okay, let's see, King. What's wrong with her? Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Celestite. What's this? And pick tourmaline. Okay, so beneath the surface is she has love, okay? But she does have some edge to her today, blue stones. So this is in a sense, wait, let me just hear myself, I cannot think. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. This one. Sorry. Okay. Blue stones indicate that she's very, very like triggered. Her triggers are not directly you, but it's something like she has been worried about one thing, and she was very like edgy. I think some of her plans are failing, and she's going like just being a little bit like, it's not ratchet, it's easily irritated. Okay, now although she does have love energy for you, but you're not the only one who can sense her being triggered today. I think particularly people who are the closest, or the ones who she loves and they love her, is gonna sense this. She's not going to be like this for everybody. I think she is channeling that she's not feeling well today, and that she is stressed about something, that it's not going well. I will say this looks like a mash of things, like money, business, and almost like she has energy of tiredness. But this is not, you didn't cause this, okay? And also triggers are coming from somebody's like jumping on her nerves, and I think it's a family member, female family member. That's it, King. She's projecting on you, you know, like a domino effect. Irritated. Okay, I mean, you know, you didn't do nothing, right? And I think she's kind of she wants to tell what is bothering her, but she's not saying. But if she would like talk things through, she would not be like this. But she doesn't want to talk. You didn't cause that. You see, regarding you, she has a love card. All right, what's the second question, King? Sorry that she's like that today. I guess she has a bad hormone all day. Okay. Tell me something, King. I'm not a doctor, but did she ever had hormone problems before? I'm just asking because something is a little bit like hormones. Did she ever had like an imbalance or something? Because these blue stones usually signals that too. It can be, but yes, you see, did she took all of her meds? I mean, look, it sounds like a little bit of energy, but I'm not a doctor, you know. She had seizures. Oh my god. Maybe something is wrong with that. Maybe she should check. Maybe she needs new medicine or something like that. Like, I did sense a little bit like it is nervousness. It is people are bugging her about everything. But it's also a little bit too much of an explosion. And I think she's whole week a little bit like triggered. Could be that she needs to do a checkup. Besides having stressing things. I mean, like, this activates her, but she reacts to things that bothers her, you know. All right, what's the second question? Yeah. She takes them faithfully. I believe you, darling. I'm not saying she's not. I'm just saying maybe something is like, maybe she needs another dose, or sometimes things can shift, okay? I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying, like, I do sense a little bit of that. It can be problematic. You always, like, the thing is, I always say that, okay, doctors say this, but always listen to your intuition and body. And I got a little bit of sense of that too. So maybe she should do a checkup. Maybe it's some imbalance. Because I know women, some women, like, they need to change dosages and stuff like that because it's just too much. Okay. Okay, right. Just a thought. I'm sensing something small here. Maybe it's part of the problem. How does Keisha feel about the one in the marriage? Okay. Opal. Serpentinium. Tanzanite. Okay. Again, two polar energies. You see, this is emotions, love, strong. I love opal. I'll tell you, I love opal in a sense of emotions in your question. But this is her being very, you see the black stone? She's being very negative at times. Definitely, she's almost like she is sometimes, she's sometimes going into a mind process where she's really negative about everything and she's not able to look it on the bright side. Okay, now she loves you, but sometimes she's getting herself in a really deep emotional, like looking everything that is everything glass half full, half empty, right? There's definitely this situation happening. This is her state. But as far as emotions, she absolutely loves you. There's no doubt here. But I think she really, really is. I think she has imbalances, honestly. Emotional imbalances that she is not able to maneuver correctly. She needs a lot of like understanding of, or like saying to her a million times, like, yes, I love you, yes, like she needs a lot of that, because almost like insecure energy I'm feeling. And it's a little bit unusual, I'll say that. Okay, it's not something that cannot be handled, but I do sense she would need to kind of approach a little bit about her emotions, like things that she holds in, maybe some old wounds and stuff like that. I think it blocks her being happy. Okay, not just the marriage situation, but in general happy. I think she's a little bit stuck here. Okay, now how to work on that? I think she doesn't really fully realizes that she should work on that. I mean, she recognizes she's sometimes feeling weird stuff, but yeah, you agree? I don't know what to tell you. I think maybe she's a little bit emotionally distressed, okay? Now, there's no doubt she loves you, okay? No doubt. But she is not handling her emotions well, and I sense that hormones can be also out of the control a little bit, or just to check it out. Or this emotions that she has is impacting hormones, so it can be even that, who knows. But it's all mesh. I think she would need to go a little bit through some healing process, maybe some psychologist. I would say she seems to be like up and down, honestly. I think her family is not helpful. You are, as much as you can, you are there, but she's kind of, she needs to talk about her problems. She needs to talk about her blockages, and she needs to move forward with that, King. You cannot be in this negativity. It's bad for her. I don't know. I'm just like, I think she feels like she doesn't need it, and then she's not working on it, Hi, Angelica. Angelica, thank you for sharing. Please tap share and follow, and also become a fan. Click here on the heart me. So she loves you, okay? No doubt. there are different other things are bothering her, you know. A lot of this is subconscious energy. You do? I don't know what to say. I would just like take her and let's talk to psychologist or something or whatever, do yoga, and also she needs to get away from people who are like negative. I think she's kind of like poisoned from the toxic environment. It's not her fault, you know. I think she's like being radiated with this too long, so she kind of like just flips out in that way. She needs, I think, some sort of she needs to talk through these problems, emotions. You know, the thing is, okay, you two are like kind of apart, but she didn't solve this problem, you know, in a sense. You are talking, you know, and she's being really like, you two are very much connected. You almost see each other daily. You two are having events together, like almost like everything is fine, but it's not fine still, right? And you know, she needs the love, but she's not fixing it. I think you reach really like a point with King where you need to kind of like try something to on her emotional health, you know? Yeah, emotional health. Yeah, that's the right word. I don't know. I would just kind of like, I don't know if she's gonna listen. I assume she's gonna be more like no. Maybe you can go around, ask some family member to take her somewhere, like to talk things through. But I see that she is like, she would need this. I think she's really stuck in this loop. I don't know. If you can do something, it would be great, King, okay? King, you had already yes and no. You asked the first question, yes and no. Oh boy. You forgot, huh? Alright. Yeah. You did. You ask first thing. Yes and no, blah, blah, blah. You always do that. And then you want a reading. You forgot. Okay, Angelica, will my man and I be having a child together? For pregnancy questions, you need to give a mini reading, darling. Okay? For children, pregnancy, child. I need to open for more cards than one. So it requires mini reading, darling, Angelica. Yeah. All right. Hi, Luana. Tap sure follow Team Hearts. Become a fan. I don't know, King. I hope this is kind of like, I don't know how you can go about it, but this is where I'm picking up, okay? King. I don't know. Maybe you should take her to psychologist or something. I don't know. I don't know what's the right approach, but yeah, I sense emotional instabilities with her for sure. What's this? Hi, Tella. Please tap share and follow and become a fan. You followed me? That's nice. Thank you very much for following. Hi Dante, tap share, follow and become a fan. So you sent heart me to become a fan. Fans are eligible for yes and no. Simple yes and no, not every yes and no. Hi Monica, hello. King, what's up? Dante, please tap, share and follow and become a fan. To everybody, to become a fan, you send this heart me. Heart me as a special gift that you sent once. For real? Troll has shut down. Oh, what about Discord? No, cannot.
Nije tvoj uobičajeni ice otvori ga.
Hello. Okay, guys, tap, share, follow. Awesome. Four more cards to get. 2 fragments. Well. B5. Abyss. Who? Pregnancy questions you need to gift. Mini reading minimum. Okay. Okay, let's show that.